Hi, Lonnie. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. So today I wanted to talk about the storageauctions.com and your storagegives.org that you have set up. So can you tell us a little bit about that charity?
Yeah, Storage Gives. We were actually going to launch this spring of 2020 at ISS or SSA Spring Show, and a little thing called COVID showed up and kind
Yep.
of derailed the spring big shows, and so we put it off and put it off. Storage Give, if I back up a little bit, we didn't actually have that URL secured at the time.
Right.
I had been uh, having another storage, it's called Storehouse 28, was a recipient of myself and my wife. Our giving went through that foundation. We had started years before, and had just given our money and never asked anyone else to participate. And that was actually the plan when we started storage auctions. This is my 19th startup. I had kind of retired.
Yeah.
She gets upset thinking she was married to a retired guy. It made her feel old. It made me feel good.
Yeah.
But, when online auctions was becoming a thing, and I was using it as a storage owner, I saw that this is going to be adopted. It was not adopted fast. Our
Right.
industry sometimes pushes back against change.
Hmm. Hmm.
And but I could tell for me as an owner, man, I don't want
It's
to
a
have
big
live
deal.
auctions at my
Yeah.
store anymore. So we looked at this space. I went to Spring Dallas in 16, met with, there was 9 companies in the space now. There's really 4 left.
Right.
And didn't see what, as an owner, I wanted to see. So reluctantly, I started doing performance, doing a bunch of research, deciding we were going to start this company or not. And one thing I've tried to do the last 15 years is why I ended up in self storage, is to build companies that have residual income.
Hmm.
And the idea was, if I build this thing, we can have residual income to add to our giving to Storehouse 28. Um, that went on for the first 3 years. And the company grew, storage auctions grew, our giving was able to grow. And I had some other people in the industry say, well, I want to do a water well with you, or we want to feed some kids. So
Yeah.
after a lot of consideration and meeting with different folks to kind of administer the 501c legal side of
Right.
the entity, we started, legally started, and I guess with the IRS, the 501c3 side of it, and was about to launch to the industry in the spring of 2020, and that got delayed a bit. And eventually, we were still having auctions and taking money from those auctions and feeding kids and doing our things we've been doing. Right now, we kind of have well, part of the model is with every unit that gets put on our website as storage auctions, we just count that as a unit. We feed 5 kids from that unit, even if
Wow.
the math got complicated on all the cancellations from last minute tenants paying their bill. So we just
Yes.
decided if a store puts it on, we're going to feed a kid, even if we don't get to sell it. And some people challenge my math there, but I'm okay. We'll be fine. Last year, we were able to feed over 250,000 meals.
Wow.
Really exciting this
That is
year.
amazing.
I really feel this year we can hit 500,000 from us taking money on our side of the table
Hmm.
when we get our commissions, and just turning that around and turning it into meals. What we started doing last year was some of our storage owners wanted to participate, and instead of having them give me 100% of the proceeds of a sale, we offered them an option to give a percentage, because sometimes people don't like to give you all of their money.
Right.
They'll give you some of their
Some.
money.
Yeah.
So we said, some of a little bit from a lot can
Right.
add up to a whole lot. So that was our approach when we first went with the stores. A lot of them were giving 10%. Some of them give 25% of a
Hmm.
auction proceed. A lot of times that's 25, $30, in a month, depending on how many units they have and what they sell for. But it's not a lot from the store's pocket, but when you
Right.
multiply that by hundreds and thousands of units, it turns into
Exactly.
And so we opened it up for giving to come from the actual sale of units, but also just direct giving to a lot of vendors, which I think in 19, I flew 131 trips and spoke at 23 shows.
Wow.
So I've gotten to know a lot of the folks out there on the vendor
Yes.
side of the table. So some of those guys wanted to join in. So they do 100, when they do a donation, it's just a check. They don't have units to auction. And
Right.
like, a lot of charities we work with, there's a lot of like kind
Hmm.
donations, and that works. But except in storage, we can't give leftover abandoned
Right.
belongings or junk or treasures or
Yes.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We can't give that to help feed somebody. So, we're doing it this way. It's a little different, a little unique, and it's working. It's gotten a lot of traction. We have probably about 500 stores participating,
Wow.
and we just started that the end of last year. So
That's
we think
awesome.
by the end of this year, we'll have 1,500, 2,000 locations that are giving something, and
Yes.
it really adds up.
Yeah. That really makes a difference in so many people's lives. In my early years, I taught school. And even though I had worked at National Self Storage and stuff, I thought, well, gosh, I'm gonna try teaching, and it was really interesting because there were so many kids in need. Even like I was in a junior high setting, and I would help, and I would try to go to the school and get help, and they're like, we have nothing, we have no support whatsoever. We can try to go to the state, and that was just almost ridiculous. So I know there were kids even that I would bring things into to help them because they had no lunch. And we were in a pretty affluent area too, but we picked up some from a little further
Mhm.
away that just couldn't make it. And then some of my other kids started sharing with them or bringing things in. So it does, when you set an example, it does, make other people think, you know what, I can do something. And even if it's
Yeah,
just a little's better than nothing.
yeah, it
Right, to
really
go,
is.
because when we all put together stuff, it makes a huge difference.
It's I guess for 25, 30 years, I've been part of different organizations that raise money,
Yeah,
and and I'm a math guy. A
yeah,
lot of storage owners are math guys. We
yeah,
like our spreadsheets, we like our
yeah,
management summaries. We want to see all our numbers and make sure they're where they're supposed to be.
right.
And in fundraising, I was very fortunate to be around a guy in Louisiana that had sold a software company for about $130 million. Very generous guy, gave
Yeah,
millions away. And him and some of his advisors spoke into my world years ago when I was starting Storehouse 28 and Business Without Borders, which is another charity that I'm a founder of. And it's those donations from the 20 and the $25 people that give
right.
regularly
Yeah,
that you get a guy that writes a big check, but it gets exceeded when you have masses that
right.
give a little bit. It's kind of like the magic of storage. That's
Yeah,
unfortunately Wall Street is coming in for us one-offs and messing up our world here, trying to
right.
run the prices up. We can't buy stores anymore.
Right,
But when you have 500 doors and you go up $8 a piece, wow, you just changed the NOI.
right.
And
Huge,
so
right?
what storage gives, when we have hundreds and thousands of units, and they're given 10 and 20 and $30 from their proceeds, it
Yes.
really, really
Makes
impacts the lives. And one thing for me, I'm actually looking off to the side at our website. Uh, it's just we decided that we were going to give to areas that were very non-controversial through
right,
storage gives. We don't want to give to the NRA or the people for the ethical treatment of animals. Anybody
right,
can give to them that they want. Anybody can
right.
do what they want with their money, but we're not gonna. If you get mad at us because we feed kids or drill water wells or give
Yeah,
away wheelchairs, get mad at us because
yes,
we're okay with what we're
yeah,
doing there. So what we did, we took kind of four buckets. One was children, healthcare, veterans, and we pick charities inside that. We have a couple different medical things we do: autism, speaks, and breast cancer. employee, Alana in Arizona, has a son that's autistic. So we picked something that was close to home for us. So
Right.
we make donations to Autism Speaks. We can count how many meals we give out. We can't count how many autisms we do anything
Right.
with. So
Yeah.
we talk about those numbers, but there are 8 different things. St. Jude's Burn Hospital with the
Mhm.
Texas Self-Storage Association has amazingly, I think they just hit their $2 million that they have raised for that burn
Wow.
hospital. Storage Auctions jumped in the first year we were a vendor in Texas, and have been a top level giver with those folks from the beginning. I've been
Yeah.
twice and toured the hospital. Amazing operation. Everything is free for the children that get brought in there. They're all, horrible burn victims from around the world. Their
Yes.
families get apartment type stays or hotel
Mhm.
stays close by, and the whole time they're there, everything is from donations. And it's just, in that case, thousands of people giving lots of money to afford a hospital to run.
Right.
Another one, we do is a home for our troops. We hope possibly at the golf banquet. There's a local recipient in Scottsdale or Phoenix area that is a home is being built for him. He's a
Oh,
post
neat.
9/11 victim or accident victim or whatever you want to
Yes.
call that, in downrange in the Middle East. A roadside bomb blew up and
Wow.
messed up his legs. And Home for Our Troops is a lot of great veterans
Mhm.
organizations, but I was introduced to those folks a couple years ago, and in vetting their organization, just was so impressed with the amount of money that makes it out
To-
in the door and out the door. It doesn't
Yes.
stay in the house for them.
Right.
Their board members is, I think it's 8 or 9 of the board are retired generals. I met
Ah.
with some of them. I met with their CEO, another retired general, and complimented them on the fact that their board members are all volunteers. And one of the generals said, we were the guys that sent those young men downrange.
Yeah.
We're not going to make money off of being on a charity to help them after they got hurt. And the conviction in their voice, in their eyes when they said that, it just moved me.
Yeah.
So we've stepped up at Storage Gives and partnered up here in Alaska. If you notice a little snow behind me, they're actually building a house about 10 miles from my house here. So we're kind of a named sponsor for that particular project, but
Yeah.
we're going to be involved in the one in Phoenix because they're building one right close to where we're playing golf this next week or 2 weeks
Yes.
from now. We've done houses in Texas and Virginia and I think Georgia or Carolina. I kind of lose track
Yes.
sometimes, but a great organization. And we take part of our proceeds, and then sometimes like Absolute Storage Management wanted to do
Mhm.
something for autism because one of their COOs, her son's autistic.
Yes.
So we worked with them in a couple different things. They went out on their own and had a virtual walk, kind of like the Heart
Mhm.
Walks, what
Yeah.
they do autism
Yeah.
walks. We got pledges and raised close to $10,000 outside of Storage Gives, and we just applauded them. We were
Yeah.
happy that we kind of ignited something in their
Mhm.
company that they wanted this to be part of their culture, and we were just glad to kind of go alongside of them. We made donations along with them, and just trying to impact that world. And it's why some people have asked, why don't you let us do like every charity or the ones we want to do?
Right.
Um, we encourage anyone to give wherever they want to give, but
Right.
we don't want to just send a charity $100 a year or $25 a year. So
Right.
we pick some we think a broad spectrum. You can read about all of them on storagegives.org, and we giving enough to have some type of impact in that world. And for some of the
Yes.
organizations, I'm sorry, hungry kids that don't have food and water kind of get my attention.
Yes.
And we focus pretty heavy on that. We
Yeah.
drilled several water wells in the last quarter,
Mhm.
and that's exciting stuff. My previous background before storage was a water treatment company.
Oh, neat.
So water's always been part of my life. I actually
Yeah.
bought my first storage facility to put my equipment from the water treatment in the units because I needed storage.
Right.
And that's what introduced me to
That's
storage
cool.
years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so, there, I think as we go through COVID and other things, when we look at the people, COVID's fairly, um, well, I mean, it's affected us tremendously. However, when you look at all the things that the things that you're talking about, these people that are living with these disabilities, I know my both of my both of my previous husbands were in the military, and it's to hear some of the stories, especially Tom Crindle. He had so many things that he saw in Kuwait. He was on the ground there, and it's horrible. It's just horrible to hear how some of the men went home, and I
Yeah.
just and women that were there, and it was just, I don't know. We those people do things for our country that we can't even imagine, like in the situations that they're in, and the way that it's changed their lives, and to be able to give back in a real meaningful way. Some, homes and all the different things. Um, yes, that's all so important, and I like how you've vetted, because sometimes you give to things and you don't know whether it's how efficient they are with their money,
Mhm.
and all those things are so important. And lots of people, frankly, you don't have time to investigate it enough to know whether, well, is this the right one to go to, or, and having someone that has already done that, to
Yeah.
me, is a real plus. And any way I can help, and through, especially with what I'm doing here for you, is I'd love to help get out the word to all the storage people who can join in, and through their auctions, which is, that's sort of, I'm going to say, it's a little bit of a lost leader anyway in self-storage. We just want to get those people out,
Yeah.
and
More
then get some.
unified.
Right. And then so you can get it back rented again. And if you give a little bit of that money away, and it's going to a good cause, why not? Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many times I've just said, just please come get your stuff and get it out. And now, I mean, it's so much more efficient than it used to be. And I love what your service is that you do at storageauctions.com, because when I think about not having to wait for an auction, that's number one, that I can do it immediately. And I know I've got this one lady in Northern California. She's up in Yuba City, and she goes, "What do you think I should do about this?" And I said, "I think you should go online with all your auctions." And she goes, "Well, one of my managers really loves having the crowd. She thinks it's much better." I'm like, "Oh no, oh no, you got to try this." And I said, and also they do charity work too, besides that, so you can also participate in that. And she was like, "Oh, that's good." I don't know if she's signed up. I believe she has. I thought I have to ask Desiree, but I believe she's signed up with you all. But I think, we need to reach as many storage owners as possible, because the more people that participate, the more effect we all can have as an entity, or a group of like-minded people who want to help. And I mean, I think we feel like we do that with our storage units, don't we? We feel
Yeah.
like we help people in what they do. And I think that's also why, even during COVID, most states found us as essential,
Mhm.
an essential business, because of what we do and the people that we serve. And I know a few states, I'm like, we went to battle, said, "Hey, we're essential. We need to, you." And in California, the state of California, one of my stores up in Sacramento, the state had like probably 45 units at one of our locations in Sacramento. And then all of a sudden, like, they want to get in their unit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so then we are essential. We either are or not. So make us, or let us know that we're essential. So, but I do think that storagegives.org is where someone can go to find a way to put their money to use, especially just helping others. I think this is a great thing.
Yeah. One other thing, I'll speak real quick to the vetting. Um, Taking the time to learn to read tax returns for organizations that
Yes.
raise $700 million a year, it's quite a stack of papers to go through,
Yes.
but it's accessible stuff
Right.
because they are public entity, or public in that they're a 501c3 charity. They have to make a lot of information, everything really, if you
Right.
know where to look,
Mhm.
including everybody's salary that makes anything at all with the
Yes.
organization. but it's buried real deep in lots of pages. But when you
Yeah.
know where to go to look, you can find it.
Find it.
And that's just something I've been doing since before Storage Gives. We did it with Storehouse 28. We did it with Business Without Borders.
Yeah.
I don't want to give to someone and find out that my $70,000 donation to your organization paid for your speaker that came to your board meeting,
Right.
his fee he charged. And when I saw that once, and I
Yeah.
literally, I lost my mind when I figured out, the little games some of these organizations are playing
Right.
with the money. And some of the biggest ones, 60 Minutes has exposed some of the guys we all
Yes.
know.
Mhm.
Some of the very biggest names out there spend millions in fundraising.
Right.
I want to make sure it's understood. Storage Auctions pays for everything that Storage Gives does. So when you see us at a trade show, if we had to pay for that booth, and thankfully this year we're getting some spots given to us.
Right.
Last year we would have to pay to have a booth. That was paid for storage by Storage Auctions, not Gives.
Right.
When a check comes in from a vendor, 100% of that money goes right out to the charities. All the collateral material, the printing, the backdrops for trade show booths, all that stuff, none of it is charged to Storage Gives.
Yeah.
That all of that is paid for and will continue to be paid for by Storage Auctions.
Yeah.
I met my wife in Africa. She was over there as a missionary feeding about 350 kids at a care point she was over. And then her I guess real passion was she took care, they called them the go-go's. They were what they call African grandmothers in Swaziland. There were about 35 of them that fed 13,000 kids a day.
Wow.
And she cared for them. She
Yeah.
counseled and did therapy and Bible study for them.
Yeah.
I was over there drilling water wells, not looking for a wife. I had my guard down, and
Yeah.
she got me. If she sees this, she'll hit me in the
Yeah.
head with a book or something. But
That's funny.
she was doing it. I was doing it on
Yeah.
on my own and on her own. We met a little later in life. We don't have children,
Yeah.
so we like to think we have thousands of children. We at least we
Yes.
help out the way we
That's
can.
really neat.
And the water wells, all these different organizations are folks that we personally know and have vetted to where we're very, very comfortable and confident that, I feel like almost if I have to steward any money you give me, I can look you in the eye and look whoever comes to me in the eye and say we did our very best with
Yeah.
that. And
Yes.
the organization we work with for the wells, the feeding is so efficient. They're so good at what they can do with $1. It's truly amazing. Free wheelchair mission is one I've been for about 10 years. They give away wheelchairs in third world countries. And you don't think about that because in America, any disabled person, most all of them have pretty nice chairs. And
Yeah.
you have a lot of them have access to really nice chairs.
Right.
Well, when you go to Africa and the South America, you
Yeah.
may see a 7-year-old kid in a baby stroller because there is no chairs. You may
Yes.
see a grown guy on a piece of 2x12 with skate wheels underneath it that's 4 foot long, and he lays his chest on it and pushes himself down the street,
Yeah.
dirt road, with his
Yeah.
hands. And I mean, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And a chair, when we first started giving away, they cost $43 a piece. And I'm like, how can you do that? He said, well, first of all, they're not collapsible chairs because those same people don't have a car to put their chair in.
Right.
So it's a rigid chair, makes it cheaper. But there's also no lawyers going to sue the chair company for something wrong because we're giving away in a place that they don't get sued all the time.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, well, can we take these same chairs and give them away in the States to people in need?
Yes.
And the organization, many people have wanted to do that. And we can't give those away because of the lawsuit potential in the U.S. because we're quite a litigious society.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think it's
So
still
true,
under
isn't
$60. We give away a chair and totally changes a family's life.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing some special things with those guys. I think I've got a matching grant this year toward the end of the year. We're going to challenge folks from their store to,
Yeah.
let's do 500 chairs this year. Just
Mhm.
some fun stuff. And anybody who sees this that looks at the different charities, if they have one that kind of speaks especially to them, quite often I have some folks that will do matching kind of programs where if you want to do a challenge and challenge other folks in your
Mhm.
company and your industry, other store brands that you're friends
Yeah.
and competitors with, um, we have a nice little resource of, hey, we can match things. We'll do a half a well, you do a well.
Yeah.
There's those potential out there. So a lot of cool stuff. We think 2022 is our big coming out party to the
Good.
industry. So we're very humbled and
Mhm.
excited for Arizona to allow us to come in and be the
Yes.
grantee of the benefactor of this golf tournament. Looking
Wonderful.
forward to what that does.
Yes. Well, we're so happy to have you being showing off what you're doing. And that's just amazing to me. And I'm really thank you for all your time and effort into it also, because you don't always realize how much just even a little from a lot of people can make a difference. And any way I can help, and I would love to help you do that.